Alright, first of all, first video of 2020. Yeah. I know it's like what, eight something days past the first, so I'm still gonna say it. Happy New Year to you guys. Happy New Year. Back, and we are stronger than ever. But today I am here with a serious topic. This is a topic that I've actually wanted to do for a while, considering I've been doing this for almost 3 years now. Without further ado, I know you saw the title, saw the headline. Let's hit my intro and then poof, let's get into it. How are you folks this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whatever time you are watching this? Thank you guys for clicking on this video. My name is Shamar Moore Le Breton. Hashtag WeWantMoore for those that got me on Instagram, all other social medias. Today, guys, we are touching on a very serious topic. Well, it's not very serious, but it's more of a topic that a lot of people want to know, and a lot of people are actually viewing today. Now, granted, I know some of you want to get into this whole YouTube field. You guys want to get into filmmaking, so this video is actually perfect for you because we're going to break down some of the things that, is required into making a whole entire series, whether on TV, whether on streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, whatever the case may be. If you truly want to know how to make a series, keep watching this video, and I promise you by the end you'll know everything. Now, granted, I cannot really touch on a TV like big production standpoint, considering that series like Hulu, Netflix, and all this other stuff, they use very expensive equipment, such as like red cameras, big lighting, and they use studios. So I'm going to come to you from a standpoint of a series that me and my partner have started called WeWantMoore, They Need to Know. If you don't know what that is, I'll put the link down below. You guys can go ahead and watch. We're currently on season 7, about to enter into season 8. A little backstory you only need to know. This show actually started from my partner. My partner came up to me and had the idea, and poof, we just put it together, and then 3 years later we still have the show going on. It's hit 7 seasons. We've been successful. There's times where we're not successful, but granted, that's what a series does. There's going to be successful seasons. There's going to be seasons that leave you in question or you don't like. So we're going to touch upon all of that today. Now, when it comes to making a series, there are 4 things that are required based on my perspective, basically on a YouTube series. So we're going to break down each 4 in the parts because, if I was to put it all in one, it'd be a lot confusing and it'd be way too much to handle. So the first thing is to create an idea. Second thing is production. Third is editing. And fourth is promotions. Okay, so we're going to go into each one individually so that you get a better understanding of how to put it all together and create a successful series. Number 1 is creating an idea. Now, what do I mean by creating an idea? It's really self-explanatory. It's basically when you want to do a series, you need to come up with an idea that go out to the mass media, an idea that many people would come back and view. Of course, we live in a generation where the attention span is very low. You need to come up with something that people are going to be attracted to, something that people have never seen before. A prime example is our show, They Need to Know. If you look at YouTube today, nobody's really talking about sex. Nobody's really talking about love and all this other things on our kind of level. We talk about it fully open. We talk about our experiences and every single thing. So yes, it does involve explicit content. It does involve things that a child may not want to hear or should hear at that moment, but regardless, it's very open, it's very vulnerable. That's not known on YouTube, which is why our show is so unique and it stands out from other series that are on YouTube. So when it's time for you to come up with an idea, make sure that 1, it is very unique, and 2, it's going to stand out. Also, when it comes to creating an idea, make sure the idea is somewhat interesting to you. I know a lot of times when it comes to series, especially on Netflix and Hulu, you may adore a series, you may love it, but then it only lasts like 1 or 2 seasons. Now, obviously, on that extent, there are a lot of other things that may contribute to it, like budget-wise, or it's not getting enough ratings, or the people that, when series borrow money from these big production companies and they don't get the return back, they're not only in debt, but they can't return for another season. We're just talking on a YouTube series standpoint. This must be an idea that you're attracted to, because just as much as the ratings are important, your energy is important as well. If you watch The Need to Know, you notice that me and Serena's energy on the show is consistent. We don't change up. There are not episodes where we look dry or the energy is not there. And we've noticed this from season 1, or we've implemented this in season 1 mainly because we understood that in order for a season to be successful or to grow, you must bring energy every single time. This is why when we have guests on the show, we require them to bring their energy, because if they don't, they kind of weigh down how the episode will go for that season, if that makes sense. So just keep in mind when you're creating an idea that it must be unique, it must stand out, must make sure that this idea is something that you're going to stick to for seasons to come, whether it's 10 seasons, 15 seasons, 20 seasons. Make sure it stands out and is going to last for a very long time, not only to the fans that's going to watch the show, but also to you. So when it comes to creating an idea, jot down notes, use your notebook, use a pad, make sure to broadcast this idea to your friends, your peers. Make sure to go on Instagram, go on Snapchat, go on Twitter, and ask people like, what do you think of this, blah, blah, blah. Whether you want to start a podcast series, whether you want to start a YouTube series, even if you want to jump into the big guns and start a Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Stars, HBO series, like, make sure this idea, is not only liked by you, but, get other people's opinions on how this idea may flow, if it's big enough for a mass media to like, or is it just, a local idea that may not work. Moving on to the second point, which is production. Production comes obviously right after creating the idea. Now, production might be the hardest point out of all four, mainly because this is where you pull out the camera, this is where all the equipment comes in, this is where you have to think about what angles you want, what dimensions you want, how is everything going to look, what questions are being asked, if this is an interview, things like that, things of that nature. Like, there's a whole bunch that comes with production. Now, once again, I'm going to use the prime example of the need to know. Production mainly comes from Serena. Serena is my partner. Now, within production, it takes a lot. When the seasons are off, when we give you guys like the bloopers, let's say for example, within that space when we have to come up with the next season, Serena has to take a lot of time to think about what topics are going to stand out, what topics are for guests, what questions are going to be asked, things of that nature. There's so much writing that goes into production, which is why production is literally the hardest thing to do when it comes to a series. Think about it this way. The acting could be okay. Color grading, color editing, and everything else could be okay. The promotions could be decent. But if the writing and the production and the plot of the whole thing is bad, no one is even bothering to watch it. But if the writing is good, if the writing is amazing, but the actors are decent and everything else, you can still pinpoint what the point of the whole series or the point of the episode or the point of the whole thing is about. They'll still stand out because that's the thing that people are hearing. They're not hearing how the actors speak. They don't really care so much, or they do care, but it's not as important as what's trying to be portrayed. Look, for example, at a movie called Queen and Slim. It recently came out, and a lot of people noticed that the budget wasn't high. There were certain clips that, just weren't as appealing as, like, let's say Avengers Endgame or something. It was the writing, it was the understanding of what was trying to be portrayed that made the movie so great that the acting and the budget and everything else and the promotions didn't really matter, because at the end of the day that the point of the movie spoke more than everything else. When it comes to production, please make sure that before you even start the series to write down everything that you want out of the production, whether that be the writing, whether that be how things look, whether that be the questions that you ask. Make sure they are sharp as hell, because if they are not, if they are okay, if they're just decent, even if the topic that you're talking about for that day isn't as appealing as others, you'll automatically know even before editing, no matter how things look editing wise or directing wise, it won't get that many views, because people, again, we live in a generation where the attention span is so short that production and writing is very, very critical. It's very important. Okay, so when it comes to production, it's not a long point. I'm not going to touch too much on it because I'm not a producer, I'm more of a director. But when it comes to production, make sure that the topic, make sure that the series, make sure that everything that you want to ask or everything that you want to do production-wise is on pinpoint, is top-notch shape. Because you, my friend, this point right here is the most important point out of all four. The third point is editing. Now, this is more of my field. Obviously, I'm going to use the prime example of the Need to Know again, considering it's a series that I as well as my partner has started. Editing wise, editing takes a lot. I'm going to let you guys know that now. If you want to start a series, I'm not trying to make you feel downgraded or like this might be too much, because it's really not that hard. But when it comes to editing, you are the producer's pusher, if that makes sense. The production part will always show, no matter how good or bad the editing is. The editing is what the people see. Production is what people hear. Editing is what people see. Your production could be as great as it wants to be, But if, let's say, your camera is out of focus, the angle you shot it at didn't come out right. Again, we live in a generation where the attention span is so short. So as great as the production may be, it may keep somebody there for 30 seconds to a minute. But then if the visuals is not great, you'll lose appeal, because this is what people see. You know what I'm saying? We live in a generation, again, where the young mind wants to see something visually appealing. So if they don't see anything visually appealing, they're likely, even though the topic may be as great as it wants to be, it may get clicked off on YouTube or Netflix or Hulu or whatever the case may be. Think about it for a moment. All the series that you watch, don't they look visually appealing? Or there's something about it that makes you keep wanting to watch. Sure, there may be some aspect of production-wise that makes you, keep wanting to view because the story is that great, or the topic is that great, or what's being discussed is that great. But there's also another aspect that keeps you watching because it's visually appealing. There's colors, there's different things that makes you say, wow, or it looks so great. It catches your eye, and it keeps your eye focused on, how good it looks, as well as how great the production is. One big thing I would say is color correcting and color grading is like an absolute key for you. Now, if you are not big on, color grading and color correcting, or you don't know how to, you guys can go check out a video that I've started called the Premiere Pro Basics Part 1 and Part 2. The point I'm trying to make here is that color correcting and color grading is very, very important when it comes to a series, mainly because in the youth world that we live in today, without visuals, without post-production, it look kind of trash. I'm just gonna be real. It look kind of trash. It gotta be sexy, all right? When it comes to the audio, listen, make sure you take care of your audio, all right? It must be very well put together. You see how this video, the audio sounds nice? Now, let's take a moment and let's just go straight to the camera's audio. You see how bad this sounds versus when I use my microphone? This is exactly what post-production would sound like without good audio. Now, when it comes to your sound, okay, as important as it is with the video, I understand. I just went to the point of making the visuals look as nice as possible so that you keep the attention span. But let's be real here. When you listen to a song, when you listen to anything that doesn't have good sound quality, you tend to click off no matter how good the writing or the idea may be, okay? So make sure when it comes to editing that you work on the lighting, which I didn't touch on. I'm about to touch on in a few seconds. Touch on the lighting, touch on the audio, and touch on the visuals. Now on to lighting. Lighting is very crucial, very important. I touched upon this in a video a long time ago called the steps to making a video. Okay, without lighting, your visuals is kind of dead. You can't color grade, you can't color correct without any lighting. If I look too dark in a video, if I look way too bright in a video, it's gonna come out nasty. You don't want to look at it, you just don't want to see it. Okay, so make sure your lighting, make sure your sound, and make sure your visuals is on point. And we move on to the final point. Now, promotions is the second biggest point out of all of these. Why? Because without promotions, your show goes nowhere. Okay, look at the series on Netflix, look at the series on Hulu, look at even series on TV. More times than not, before the series comes out, weeks in advance, they show you commercials, they show you ads, they push this series down your throat so that you not only get like a little snippet or a little preview of what's to come, but it gets you hype so that when it actually comes out, you get views. Okay, this is the same thing that happens on YouTube. I'm going to take the prime example of the need to know again. Oftentimes in we make a guest film a promo beforehand so that we put the promo out before the day of the episode comes out. We also send you guys a preview at 3 o'clock before the physical show at 5 p.m. comes out. Why do we do this? 1, to get the audience hyped up for what's to come. 2, to give you some visuals to understand how the video is going to look for the next, let's say, 30-40 minutes that the show is, however long it is. And lastly, is to promote so that these people can tell their friends, to tell other people that, yo, this is it, blah blah blah. If they like the preview, if they like the promo, or even if they know the guest by person, they're more bound to share it to their friends. They're more bound to share it on Instagram stories, to tweet about it, to go on Snapchat and talk about it, to make them swipe up. Promotions is very big to a series. No matter how good the idea is, no matter how great the editing is, no matter how awesome the production is, it will not go anywhere. It may get a little bit of views, but it won't go as far as it should without promotions. This is why it's big to have social media. In this generation, if you do not have a social media, promotions is very limiting for you. Okay, make sure to get an Instagram, make sure to get a Twitter, make sure to get a Snapchat, Facebook, whatever the case may be. Make sure to promote the shit out of your series. Broadcast it every single day. Like, say, yo, 3 more days, 2 more days, 1 more day. You even see it in movies. Like, for example, the Bad Boys for Life, the 3rd edition of the Bad Boys series with Will Smith and Warren Lawrence. You ever notice every time you go on Instagram, every time you go on TV, every time you watch YouTube, You see bad boys everywhere. Why? Because the more they push down the promotions, the more likely you are to go watch it the day of. Sometimes you can get away without promoting. Let's not take that chance here. Why? Because this is a series that I'm pretty sure you worked hard on. You've wrote down the script, you've asked serious questions, you took mad time out of your day, and you took so much effort to put in such great work just to not promote it, just for it to not be viewed. No, you don't want to take that chance. Okay, let's be realistic. In this generation, without promotions, you're not getting any. Okay, so make sure to promote yourself, make sure to go on social media, make sure you even talk about it at your local barbershop, at your nail salon, wherever you go. Tell your friends about it, tell your friends to promote for you. Just make sure to push out whatever series you're creating as much as possible. Okay, so that when the day comes, not only are you getting the first day views of everybody who has been waiting for this episode, but if all other points are correct, if the editing is sexy, if the production was great, if the idea is booming and it's popping, it's unique and it stands out, I guarantee you that first day view, those people who viewed it for the first time, they're going to share it with their friends, they're going to share it with other people that they know, they're going to share it even with people they don't know, they're just going to share it on social media, and I promise you other people will pick up on it, and it's going to grow and grow. And this is how series not only be successful the first season, but it lasts for a lifetime. Okay, and it's not only lasting for a lifetime, but it's also very memorable to the point where people rewatch it over and over and over again. It has that replay value. Why? Because you took all 4 points very seriously. Okay, so listen to me. All right, I promise you. With all this being said, thank you guys for watching. I gotta get out of here soon because I gotta go film and do another shoot. But until then, guys, take these 4 points very seriously. I promise you, you can start a series on your own. You can do it. Just believe in yourself. Just push through and just execute. The documentary is in full force. It's in full effect. We are writing the script still. It's coming out very beautiful. Second thing, the need to know, the shirts and all that. Shout out to the need to know for being an example on this channel, or being an example for this, video right here. But yeah, the shirts is coming soon. Just give us some time. You've seen all the updates on the need to know. Speaking of the need to know, you guys can go click down the link below. It's basically us. You guys can go view the channel. You guys can go watch all 7 seasons if you have the time, because that's a long time. I'm out of here. Thank you guys again. I'll see you later. Follow me on the social medias. You know what I'm saying? You can go follow me on Instagram. That's how you say Instagram. And Twitter at _WeWantMoore. And you can, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not really on Snapchat. Well, you can find me on Snapchat, wewant.moore, if you want to. But yeah, I'm gone. Thank you guys for watching again. I'm out of here. Deuces.